Dust said that Furia in the past have been very, very good on. They've had a few losses recently, but I think the main one that was a worry was losing to Envy. Losing to Fours is not the worst thing in the world. They also lost to Ints, but that was like a domestic matchup, and it was 16-14, so that's sort of forgivable. And then the only other loss was against NRG, so, or now EG, and a team that's recently won an event. Quick push coming through, and Som is gone within the first few seconds. Battle for ramp ensues, and it is going to end up with the T's coming out even in the end. Flank coming in quickly from Henny. May even be able to steal a kill away. I don't think they expect anyone to be hit this soon. Oh, misses the shots a little bit. That would have been the bomb drop. That was massive for them, as they're now going to be able to rotate back in towards the site. There's already CTs ready and waiting. In fact, Henny's doubled back around. The shots not being hit at the moment, but finally they will. Nifty rounding the corner. Does a little bit of damage. It actually jumps up, but the trades are in once again. It's left on to Nifty. He needs to double his kills if he's going to have a chance in this round. He should be able to retrieve the bomb. The only worry is there's still a player in heaven.
Well, luckily he does have time and does have that first kill. It's going to be him up against Art, and he gets the Goosh right away, and somehow Nifty pulls off the quad kill. You know what? We talked to Som earlier on as he came in the green room, and I was asking him, hey, are we going to hear any more woos out of you today? And he said, hey, it's late.
Yeah, it's a bit late.
It was 8 o'clock, and we're all gamers here. We all stay up late, but well done. Well done by him. And again, that's the man I wanted to see step up in this series if they wanted to have a chance. And a quad kill and pissed around is exactly how you're going to want to do it. For Furia's side, though, we have to talk about Art because he played so fantastic yesterday. He went with 111 ADR, 1.53 rating up against Soul Patrol, and his flanks were on point against that team. Obviously, a different can of worms when they go up against Envy, especially with them taking that round in a situation they most likely shouldn't have been able to. But let's see what they can do off the back of that. Let's see if they can continue this pace. Furia, just to keep in mind, have basically fully saved with except the P250 and the Deagle.
Yeah, they're just going for that early round buy. This is a chance for Envy to build some cash early on. They're still going to keep the SG and a few rifles alongside it, but it's the MAC-10s I really want to be watching. Like, just the chance to run around, find out information. They're going to slowly take control of outside, and Som just trying to be a little bit sneaky. There's a chance for Art to maybe pick him off. He does have that Deeg. However, I don't think he knows how close he's currently got. In fact, already jumping all the way up right towards his opponent. They're going to spot each other straight away, but Som gets that easy kill. And now everybody else, well, it's either P250 or a USP, so it should be fairly easy unless they just walk into the stack, which they may be about to do.
Yeah, but I still find it hard to see Furia pulling this off when Som's already been able to take this much real estate on towards heaven. Gets the first kill, spots to the second player, gets him as well, and well, you stack as many players up here as you like, but when you don't have anywhere to be safe from, Envy are going to close that out and pick up the rest of those kills. So some clean round there coming out of the team. Off to an early 2-0 start. Again, good to see Nifty performing well. I think my eye is going to be on Ryan on top of things too. Talking about him being the entry fragger on T-side Nuke, that would be glorious to have happen if he can start to hit his shots and really feel his position within the team and his position in this match.
Yeah, he has been thrown in at the deep end in a pretty tough role, like 2 big events for this level of roster especially. Like going to Malmo was based off qualification, and then being here was surviving relegation from last season. So these are the 2 tournaments that Envy pretty much handed him on a plate, didn't have to do anything for. That sort of means he has to perform instead. Barely any utility already left for the CT side. Just a couple of smokes. And there's still so much time left. 1:15 for something to be done by the Ts. Still, they're going for a bit of a bonus round themselves. A couple of MAC-10s, and currently just sit waiting for any level of aggression. You can see Art's already rotated down onto the lower bomb site, and Vinny just straight through the smoke, and there is Art. He was ready and waiting for anybody to try and drop down that vent. Ramp control is going to be where the battle ensues, and are they going to expect Henny to just be hiding here? This could be a free kill from it. Seems like Ryan is homed in on the angle. Like leaving ramp open, that would be surprising, but he is going to be able to just net himself 2 kills. Nifty now the only one left. He managed 4 within the pistol round. He needs to do 1 better here, and it should not be possible. Completely surrounded. A strong first round win for Furia. 4 survive. Now it just is dependent on the money that's there for the T side.
I was going to say, even though it is a bonus round technically coming in for Envy there, they did have a massive utility advantage in that round. There was like 1 or 2 smokes left, but all the utility in the world is not going to matter if you don't really use it, and if you can't kill players who are just tucked away in a nice position back towards, well, the back of ramp there, as you saw Henny. And Furia, I think that was an important round. Obviously, the fact they're able to have the full weaponry in this round, but kind of mentality-wise, after that pistol round, when Nifty just stole it away with the 4K. I wonder how Envy actually to go about outside control. Remember we were casting for ESL in New York, a couple of Nuke games. Actually, I think it was even at V4, now I think about it, where we saw a lot of outside position given up by the CTs towards the T side. And then we saw a couple of teams on the CT side actually go for more of the aggressive holds. I think it was Tricked in particular was the one I was thinking of. And I want to know if Envy are going to use that position and use Nifty on the AWP to try to challenge out against Henny, who I want to say he didn't have the greatest of games yesterday. Didn't look like the Henny we've known in the past, but it looks like the push is going to be coming in towards this upper site. Vinny going to be waiting, going to be completely flashed up, but gets the first kill nonetheless. Ryan left to himself. The Molotov coming in to separate the entire team, and now Envy, they're still going to push for this.
Nice kill coming in from Som, but the trades are in thick and fast. Uri doing damage, but they're going to expect... Oh, they don't. Nifty's a little bit late to the party once again into a clutch situation. He's going to be spotted out by Henny. That will be the equalization from Furia, and the money gone now for Envy, and it seems like they just got sectioned out. Like that Molotov came down at the perfect time, utility usage there. Also, if you know, I quite like the way the second that smoke goes down by the door, you actually see Art rotating very early on down below. Like that's something that teams somewhat do a little bit later a lot of the time. Like they might hold further back onto the lower bomb site stairs. But he's pretty much just watching around the vent and around secret just to make sure, okay guys, there's nobody B, so you can leave yourself dedicated. He's finding information. That was something I think he mentioned in his interview. Like, okay, he's allowed to be a little bit more aggressive. He's allowed to take fights, but he's also someone who's just searching to try and find other things out for the rest of his team.
Yeah, I think he was giving credit to Henny for that. The fact this addition to the teams allow him to play more of an aggressive style. And obviously for Furia, I mean, this is kind of redemption. Like they wanted to not only get into the Pro League, which they've done, but to beat the team they already beat before in Malmo. Even though it was 2-1 in that fashion, maybe a 2-0 could be in the cards for them here. And Yuri's already off to that strong start, 2 kills, 6 kills in total so far in the series. And again, they're up against pretty much just Glocks, so not really expecting Furia to lose out on too much.
Well, yeah, I think the most interesting thing about that interview from Vinny yesterday was the fact that he straight up just said, yep, we know they're going to pick Nuke tomorrow. Like, you normally say that afterwards. Like, it's the post-match interview where we go, yeah, we saw this one coming. It's like what MIBR did earlier. They went, we knew they were going to pick, I think it was Inferno or whatever it was yesterday.
Yep.
Whereas he's literally gone before the match, like, they are going to pick Nuke. So it's like, they're obviously prepared for this. They know that this is coming. Obviously, not a massive amount of time between here and Malmo. There's Trez obviously found out with his flights. But
I messaged him. I was like, hey, when are you in? Are you flying today? And he's like, dude, I'm doing the finals of DreamHack right now. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, we'll see if they have had any time to rectify their mistakes. As said, that like this is a map that Envy are picking into, but it's one that Furia like to play. So it's not really a weakness. That's one thing that's actually fairly decent for Furia is that they don't really play Dust 2, but that's about it. Everything else seems to be something they're willing with, like obviously the early adopters of Vertigo. But we are going to see that out of control. Already, there's now 2 players here. This is what I mean. Like, Furia seem to be finding out a lot of information early in these rounds. They are ready and waiting. The SG also homed in on an angle. You'd expect Henny to get the kill here. Flashbang going to come through. And while he's not only got a kill, he's done a hell of a lot of damage. There's the support from Quesarado. He doesn't even need it. Henny gets the triple. Yuri's there to close out the round, and Furia make that look easy.
Envy just running into a brick wall. Not really having an answer. I mean, they did have the flash pit to come through, but the fact that Henny could just kind of plant his feet there and still get those kills. He had support from Quesarado, but Quesarado didn't even hit a single shot, I believe, in that situation. And seeing confidence out of this player, who, again, struggled yesterday. Didn't look too great, even though they did win 2-0. There were still close matches, 16-12 and 16-13.
I would see that almost as a positive, though. If you can win a match and Henny doesn't even need to play that well,
That's true.
Imagine if he does.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's a scary prospect. It does show that the core four of this lineup, who've been together a while, are a very good squad, even without adding in the addition of Henny. And he saw the wild card. They even spoke about it again in like the interviews that he's the one that's now like the hype man, because you always look at them, even in like the pre-match, they're always very calm. A lot of them have their eyes closed, just sitting there in thought. And well, realistically now they have that sort of man that's a little bit more of a joker, likes to have a laugh, and is also very confident in his plays. And I think that could just add an extra level if, when you're doing well, you have this guy to pump you up, and then you also have the rest of the team who are very calm and collected. That could be the next level for Furia.
We're going to have a timeout come in for Envy, maybe to talk some things over on that T side. I'm wondering, what can they potentially change? I mean, they have kind of worked towards the outside. They haven't gone outside as like as a full man squad. They did send, I think, was it 3 players down towards Secret, and then Henny just mopped all of them up. But I feel like, yeah, that was like a one-time thing. You know, give it another go. You can't just be discouraged just from it happening one time. And also vent play, like they tried it. Didn't work out. Art was waiting for it. Art was prepared in the first gun run they had. It seems like they're just being kind of stopped in every direction. But maybe see an upper execute. We haven't had that happen so far for Envy, though there hasn't been that many rounds, to be fair, so far in the first half. But hopefully they're going to be willing to try some different things, because what they're doing at the moment is just not working.
Yeah, that is the problem of Nuke as well, though. It's very easy to get bogged down with a lot of your strategies, but we're finally going to see that AWP into play. There's a change-up from Furia as well. This is the problem with calling a tactical pause. Obviously, it gives you the time to talk, but it gives your opponents the time to talk as well. Yuri will spot his opponent, gives away his position, so just going to duck back, take a more passive spot, and somewhat waste a bit of time. Like, Envy are now going to have to make sure they clear all of these angles thoroughly before they can make their way forward. And this is actually a much more aggressive stance on outside for Furia. This is not something we've seen so much of so far. Again, I mentioned that early on in these rounds, you see Art making sure that nobody can make their way down Secret. Now, it seems like Envy are aware of this fact, but just alongside the crossfire within the garage as well, and that AWP, I think this is going to be very difficult to try and take. That was filthy. I barely even saw that, and I had X-ray. Nifty finally going to be able to get one, but Art just running and gunning. This is that aggressive play we love to see from him. Android, well, he gets one for the road. The question is, can he make things any more costly? And well, Art has just found the bomb, so I think that's probably going to put an end to this. Although defending it from this position is, well, unnecessary. You can see the rest of his team have barely even moved.
Well, they're going to hear him now. Art should have the location of Android since it just dropped. I have to say, though, like Art playing like this already, continuing from yesterday, is such a scary thing. Please knife him.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Then now we've had one from him and one from Fur. You really can make those comparisons, can't you? They really do anything for the style points, and he really does seem to be relishing this new role. Like that's one thing I always almost get disappointed with a lot of the time when a member of a team who used to be an AWPer stops being an AWPer. Like 90% of the time, I'm like, oh, why are you even on the team anymore? But with him, it seems to have... No, but it is the case. Like, if you're the primary AWPer and you stop AWPing, it probably just means that your skill level's fallen off. But a lot of the time, or at least now, we're seeing a few players who can do it. Like, Fallen's been playing fantastically well, where they're seeing it as well from Art. Like, he is relishing this new spot.
I like how we're actually seeing... Well, talked about Art. There goes his head. He's currently 13 kills, by the way. Back to my point in a second, is now Som's able to open things up on a case Serato, and the slow ramp play seeming to work out for Envy. I say slow, well, catching out Art. But it's nice to see that, you know, you have these AWPers just developing these all-around skill. Like, I always look back to, like, JDM, just because in the Pro League in the first season, when he was with CLG, we looked at actually what guns he had kills with. And I'd say like a good 90% were with the AWP. He actually had more kills with the P250 than he had with the AK. And obviously, if you switch him to be a player who only who has rifles, because you don't have the money to get the economy set up for the ops, he couldn't really perform. But to see nowadays AWPers able to be able to play with rifles and play with ops and be able to switch roles like this is honestly amazing. But now Envy gonna be in a 3-on-3. Henny holding more of an aggressive position here towards doors. This could be a lot of smokes thrown in and flashes. Gets caught out though. A little bit of fortune, but a nice little entry out of Envy. I don't know if Envy's left to himself. does have a kit. But does he need to find 3 kills? And he's already been smoked off in towards Hut too, so this is going to be very tough.
Yeah, they've got the money though that he can definitely go for this. Like, it's not so much of a worry. He can look to at least try and make things costly, even if he doesn't believe that he's going to win the round. And, well, Android actually moves out of that position. That could leave a little bit of an opening. I think he is just watching for them to exit more so than actually win the round, but he is going to find a first. Fugly just around the corner with an AWP. He drops that as well. It should be retrieved at least from Ryan, but hey, they've got the cash to play with. Making it so that the round win that Envy gets only survives with 1 player, that's absolutely fine.
I did hear a woo again, by the way, out of Som. But I agree, yeah. I mean, making it costly, they have so much economy left to work with, so it's not too big of a loss in the end. If anything, it's a nice little advantage considering, well, what are they really going to have in this round? A little bit of lack of utilities. You see Fugly and Android having nothing, and that's almost technically a win. That's like the kind of the best situation you could have happen. Obviously, killing all the players would be the best thing and then winning the round, but the fact that you have 2 players with no utility using this round could work on your advantage, or you could just get rushed down and lose 3 players almost instantly.
Dear Lord, that was aggressive and an attempted take once again. They're out of control. Have been very successful so far, but now we see the break back from Envy, and this is how Nuke can actually swing quite significantly. Is you sort of have those positions where Furia dominate a few rounds, they build up a load of cash, but you get a few back on the T side, and you basically feel like you're back in the match. However, Vinny manages to find a solo Envy player. Som's going to double back. I think Art will have heard that. He has. He's going to move his way up. There is a Molotov for Nifty, so he could just throw this in and pretty much negate the position. It's interesting that Som's alone. Like, no one's rotated. The rest of the T's are just patiently waiting, maybe expecting some sort of flank. Instead, Art now dinked up, has to fade away, and the bomb is going to be planted.
Again, some decent money on their side, so they can go for this one. You can see Vinny could be flashed in. See if he can hit the shots they need, though. You see Som directly under him. He's able to get the spray onto the first. Actually disengages in time to have a chance to get up against Nifty, and that's going to be Art hitting the shot against Android. He knows that Nifty's going to be the last player to one-on-one, but Nifty's going to hit the shot, recover the op, and get Envy 2 more on the board. 4-6, still in favor of Furia, but we're seeing some life in the Envy team.
Yeah, it's not clean, though, and that keeps me on edge. Like, even though these rounds are now leading in their favor, they're up to, I think it's 4, which is not bad, especially when your opponent only has 6. So it's not a bad position for them. The problem is they're never really getting a proper buy on the board. Like, they still have 2 SMGs, and their opponents, okay, sure, Vinny's got 1, a weapon that we don't really see too often in the MP5, but here we go. Fast play down the vents.
You know, I'd almost actually say, Tom, that their weaker buys for Envy's actually been helping them. Because they have the MAC-10, because they have a couple of SMGs, they're playing a lot faster, which is actually catching Furia off guard. The aggression from a team who's used to aggression and playing aggressive, it's starting to work out. I mean, you got the Silence MP5 for Vinny. Som, who snuck down the vent earlier on, gets the kill on a Yuri, upgrades. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, Serato. That's the bomb now down, not planted. Reinforcements will be coming through. Ryan's able to clean him up, though, and now Vinny and Henny need to get down here as quick as they possibly can. Look at this, Fugly with the delayed rotate coming through. He should most certainly be catching up Vinny eventually. And I would imagine just going to try to save this op in this round.
Oh, dear. He thinks he's holding for an exit, but in fact, Fugly is going to be walking in. His hiding place is not fantastic, and, well, that will be the freebie kill. And he now just looking for a place to hide, but he is going to hide in the most obvious hiding place in pretty much the whole map. Go back home, back to the spawn, and, oh, 5th round now onto the ball for Envy, starting to grind out these T rounds. It is majority victories for Furia when they play against each other. Only one time has Envy actually managed to win versus Furia. But they did obviously take this nuke in the series previous, so who knows? They may have expected it, but it doesn't seem like the problems have actually been fixed just yet.
Well, an important round for Envy to keep in mind. They keep 4 players alive, which is phenomenal considering the last, few rounds for them. They've won 3 straight now, but more importantly, they've been able to beat Furia on the 4 spies. So now Furia has really no money to spend into this round. You saw the MP5 come in for them previously, a little bit of lack of utility. They're going to have a Mag 7. They're going to do it yet again. Pistols, an AUG, an AWP, and a Mag 7. But this could be Envy tying things up, and if they take this round, you know, Furia should be able to buy into the next, but this is starting to put a real stamp on this match here for Envy. Trying to repeat what they did at Malmo, but they have to do it again when it comes to Mirage and Vertigo. And I honestly don't know how experienced Envy is on Vertigo. I don't know if they've been preparing specifically for this map, but the fact that they left it open and knew how good Furia is on it, I have to assume they have something planned if they get to that third.
Yeah, it's possible that maybe they thought about this going forward. But nonetheless, they've got to try and make sure that Nuke goes their way. If they are going to have a chance in this series, I don't really see them taking Mirage. And well, a good start for Fury in this round at least. It is just the save weaponry and a few upgrades along the way. And you're going to be there with the AWP as Nifty looks to make his peek in. I wonder if he's going to be baited for. No, it just takes the dry peek, but doesn't actually get any damage. Now his teammates pushing, but the rotation's there from Art. An instant headshot and gives some space to Henny to fall back. They've now got that two-man advantage, and sure, okay, the weaponry's still not great for a lot of their players. It's still going to put the pressure on Envy here.
Especially when they're down to just 3 players. Man, that smoke being placed, Henny can just watch. Wait and lurk, not able to hit the shot yet again. But Art's going to be here another time, and Art is just around this map as quick as he possibly can. Tucked away in sight now, Molotov to his right, smoke to his left. Only 1 kill to his name for there, and Henny finally going to hit the shot on Android. 8 seconds left, they need to get this bomb down right now, and they're going to run out of time if they don't go for it. Ryan peeks around the corner, gets one. Ryan was the last alive. And finally, Furia do put a stop to the roll that Envy was on.
They have managed to do it, even especially with a dodgy buy. That seems to be one of the things that both Envy and Swole Patrol have sort of suffered with, is that they managed to win like a force buy or do something like decent with like some weaker weaponry, but then they always lose one, either the next round or a little bit later on, where you kind of hoped that they were going to build into the map rather than just hand it back away. And once again, they're going with a faster round. Android with the Mac-10, straight down the vents now. There's been players waiting here in the past, and Yuri's going to be challenged on the outside. There's a gap within the smoke, but he can't capitalize. Even still, though, the rotation down, they have to be careful because Art has heard everything. He's waiting up above on the scaffolding, and on the T's will now have multiple players coming in their direction. Henny here with the AWP. Art still waiting, but he doesn't manage to connect the shot. Still yet to see too much from the AWP in the AWPer's hands, but there we go. Flick to start things off. The second won't connect. He hits Ryan, but doesn't get the kill. Luckily, Art is there, and he'll spray down 2 once again. 19 kills already to this man's name. He is looking to drag his team through. He's got to be careful, though. The door's going to open, and the peekaboo from Som will even things up once again. Quesarado and Vinny on the rotation. They know the bomb's dropped. Som having a decent performance yesterday, but they're going to need something from him here. They don't want to allow the CT side to take back control, and that's exactly what Vinny has done. Fugly now left into a 1v2, and Quesarado puts another kill to his tally. Not the best start to the game from him, as he's normally one of the players highlighted within this roster for sort of his clutch situations and his big game plays. But it's important that they start to stabilize a little bit, because you see too many T-side rounds come up, and that's where you do worry for Furia.
We're going into round 14, and we're going to see the pistols for Envy. I do like the quicker play out of them. The problem was, once they ran into Henny, they started to slow down. Obviously, we saw Art pick up a double kill, even though Henny did fall, but look at this. This is just a whitewash. Saw him by himself in a 1-on-5. I feel like when we see Envy, even if they do rush, whenever they kind of second-guess themselves or they get slowed down, they just struggle. Art's allowed to just rotate in a good position. The rotations in general from Furia just lock them in and encapsulate them.
Yeah, more statistics as well. Is that I think it's, well, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it again. Yuri and Vinny have won 6 out of 6 of their opening duels, so they've been starting things off well. And then Art's been there to close a lot of them, which it's always going to be helpful in those sort of scenarios.
I wonder if we can get a stat for Ryan. And again, I'm not trying to harsh on too much, but that's obviously the newest player. We want to look at the entry fragger for the team. I want to see how many opening duels has he taken.
This will be a test of whether or not David's actually listening to the stream or just sending me messages of interesting stats.
I want to know how many opening duels has he taken. I don't really care about how many he's been successful or lost. I want to know if he's been the man to take them. We've seen
I've
Nifty
seen him run out.
Charge.
I remember he ran out onto the site in one of the rounds.
And there was a Molotov blocking the rest of his team, so that's kind of like an unfortunate situation, but I don't know. I just kind of want to see in general to see how Envy are playing. And Nifty, who, again, had the quad kill in the very first round, in the pistol round, 14 rounds later, has only been able to accumulate 4 more.
Well, aggressively pushing Art, just waiting within the smoke, but now going to have to try and hide within it. Somehow still surviving, hasn't been killed off just yet. I think he knows the Fugly's above. He's not even focusing on the players close to him. He's looking for the man further away. K-Serado's actually going to be the one to get that initial kill. Finally, someone's going to put down Art. It's actually Nifty with a double. He heard you. K-Serado's going to try and smoke them off, section them away. He wants to push them into Henny, push them into Secret. I'm going to be boosting back up. Tease in the meantime, I like this. I always like seeing the yard control utilized by the terrorist side. Okay, Serado's not a fan. So he's going to be trying to watch to see if anybody does make their way through heaven. But the real play here, not that they could know this, but if they go back towards ramp, it's completely open. They can have the B site for free. Sure, Henny will have the rotating flank from behind, but they know they've left that. So it's not so much of a problem. Like, it will be a position they know they have to focus on. Instead, ramp is clear. Ryan's going to check the position from earlier to make sure there can be nobody waiting. And this should be a very easy bomb plant for Envy without any real congestion.
Let's see, obviously taking their time through. Henny's going to know in a few seconds that it will be a lower play. They still have him lurking, as it looks like the rest of the players are just going to barrel down through vents as well. Problem is they have to deal with these smokes and have to deal with a lot of eyes in their direction. And who's going to be the man to get the initial entry for Fury if they want to go for the retake? You got Ryan watching for K-Serado to push up. He's going to have backup as well. It's going to be Fugly there, and look at that, just some quick kills coming through, and Envy will at least be able to take the last round of the half, so that leads things at 9-6, still in favor of Furia. But that's not too bad of a start for Envy.
No, that's absolutely fine. That's fairly standard, in fact. There you go, David was actually listening. He said Ryan's won 2 of 3 entry duels, so he's taken 3.
Okay, so he's actually doing relatively well, 2 out of 3.
Yeah, also none have been won by Henny either, so he's been more passive in his supported play. Just a few interesting statistics. Of course, this is a map that we've already seen previously, and it was actually seemed fairly T-sided for Envy in their victory. They managed 9 T rounds the last time, so maybe 6 will be a little bit of a worry for them. We'll see if they can convert it. I suppose last time they still managed to get the 7 CT rounds that they needed, so maybe they could have got themselves more. And I'm interested to see what Furia can actually do on their own on the T side, whether or not they are going to be able to maybe get the pistol boost for their start at least a little bit. Of course, this is all just theory. We will find out the answer to that after the break.
the chatting. I just step up and make it happen. It's a lifestyle. Living young and restless, yeah, we quite wild. If I want it, I'ma get it talking right now. And I ain't got no regrets, it's my time now. Lights out when you see us talking moves. You don't know that's the topic. And if you talking juice, well then you know I got it. Then you know I got it. Nobody got it like me.
Hey, you! Yeah, you, watching from home. Thanks for sticking around as we're into our second match.
He's so
I'm
close.
hoping you're saying ooh to what you're seeing on the screen and not my little intro
it
there.
was your intro.
Well, thanks.
99.9,
Thanks,
so close.
But Art,
So
again,
fun.
I talked about he had 111 ADR in the last match they played yesterday up against Soul Patrol, and look at that. Pretty much the exact, actually literally the exact same ADR in this match as well, at 111.7 yesterday. What?
There's no way. Like,
Is it
what?
111.7 on the screen?
Yeah, but what are the chances of that?
I'm just trusting in the numbers that are put up in front
I
of me.
don't trust anyone.
Not even yourself.
No. I would betray myself in a heartbeat. Here
And
we
you're
go.
definitely not going to trust Budget Semler over here, so.
Here we go. Beat. Ryan kicking things off, trading for Henny, but he can't quite get Fugly. Luckily, he's got Henny there to do it for him. And Henny's actually found a double in the pistol round. It seems to be that he's doing very well without the AWP in his hands. Nice shot from Nifty, though. Won them the last pistol, looking to try and recreate that here. Android pushing in, well timed, eventually gets the kill. Now Henny has to do it all. A 1 versus 2, trying to replicate Nifty's clutch, but he's actually pushed a little bit more aggressively back around. There shouldn't be much of a chance for Henny. He's so low on HP, doesn't manage to connect the shots, and that's going to be now both pistols under the belt of Envy.
Well, you talked about it before the halftime break. If Envy could take the pistol round, nice little boost to them early on in the second half, and they've been able to do it, been able to pull that one off. 7-9. Still have a lot of rounds to go, though, if they want to close out this map and repeat what they did in Mamo just a few days ago, actually.
It seems a bit longer, doesn't it?
It does, but I can tell you, Stunna can confirm it was just a couple days ago. So let's see, Envy buying up with the SMGs. Furia, just a P250 bought up, and they've done some decent damage. Able to get 1 kill. If they get more than this,
They're
that
going
would
for the
be
bomb plant.
amazing.
It's the classic strategy of nade out the vent, jump down it, and try and get the bomb down on B. Unfortunately, there's already players here. They've expected this. They've been trickarooed. But I think the T's know this. They're going to try and double back around again, but this is where you get picked off versus the weaponry. They managed to drop 1 player. If they can even get a second, that wouldn't be bad. They've done a fair amount of damage onto the players on A, in fact.
If he actually knew how low they were, he could probably pick up a double kill here and then open up the entire upper site.
It's definitely easier said than done when you have a Glock. I do like how Art is basically just waiting, just being patient. Ryan's still feeling confident even though he's only got 36 HP. Android going to be the one to face because he's yet to really take any damage, and they should be able to keep this clean in the end. Yeah, so only 1 player dropped. A potential for a little bit more, but that will give Envy their 8th. But now things get a little bit more difficult because their opponents are actually going to have guns.
With Art already having a, 19 kills, I want to say like 7 rounds in, something ridiculous in the first half. I wonder if he's going to be able to do something similar here. I wonder if you can kind of leave him to his own devices, like give him the smokes to push in towards Secret while the rest of the team works in towards ramp. Or allow him to maybe potentially lurk Fugly might actually get caught off towards Seeker. He's in a really rough spot. If they just get some smokes down, they're actually going to push in very loudly. Not going to expect him to be there. Yuri's going to eventually get the kill, but Ryan again keeping the man advantage. Not able to get the second onto Art. He's on 1 HP.
The nade dunks him out as well. Henning Quesarado looking to try and turn this back. This will be a big round for Envy to win. It not only levels them up, but they had some weaker purchases. Nifty getting tagged up, but look at the position of Android just slowly rotating his way back around. He has just missed the boat on catching these players rotating, but he should at least be able to upgrade his weaponry. Quesarado lurking by the vents may not be expected. He's going to peek into some. He's just turned around. It could be the worst timing. Peeks back, but it's too late. Quesarado's taken his head off, and now Nifty looking to push back in through Mini. He's going to give his position away. He's only got 10 HP, so he can't really be the one that needs to make the play. It has to be Android. Nifty's just going to try and bait for him. Maybe give up his life to try and net his teammate a kill or two. The bomb almost goes down. That was Henny getting tagged up through the smoke. They're definitely aware of the potential of a rotation, but instead it's going to be the Molotov looking to try and force out Quesarado. I think it's clipped off the door though, and Henny now going to drop one of these players, leaves Android all on his lonesome. There's at least a bit of a trade back in damage. Henny he can't take that fight. He's so low on HP, and now it comes back into the 1 versus 1, but he doesn't know where Quesarado is. Once again, when it comes to the buy rounds, that's where Furia seem to rule the show.
And Envy have no money either in this round. Well done. I agree. I was kind of wondering like why Henny did actually go for the shot there when they have the 2-on-1 so on such low HP. But they win the round nonetheless, and they continue this train going. For Envy, are they going to try to get interesting here? Are they going to try to go for like maybe a rush in towards Hut? Or an aggressive play towards outside? There's a Mach 10 for Art, so there's a lot of potential for money to be built up for this T side. It looks like they will just go for a little bit of an outside play, which they could. If they time it right, maybe catch up a couple players towards Seeker. I think Nifty's going to be the one pushed in first. They actually could do some decent damage, to be fair, Envy. They have players in the right positions. That's going to be 2 already going down. Probably able to get 1. And Nifty, well, he's going to fall here in a second. And that will be Furia taking round number 11. Pretty easy so far here for Furia, at least in that round.
Yeah, a team that definitely can pull out the rounds on the T side. Will be interesting to see if we get that same sort of slowdown from Art. Like we did have it prior, where there was a bit of a comeback yesterday versus Swell Patrol, where he sort of had like a fast 30k, and then
yeah,
just slowed right down. But someone else picked up the slack eventually. He even admitted that maybe they tried to finish the game off a little bit too quick, and that punished them a bit. Here we go, though. Speaking of fast plays, this is an aggressive one towards the ramp. The nade will do a little bit of damage, and Ryan already contemplating a rotation. They're going to go through the Molotov. Vinny and Art combine, and just the brute force of Furia has completely opened up this B site. The rotations, I don't even know if they'll come. You might just have to consider saving, and in fact, yeah, Nifty's just going to double back up the ladder and just opt to keep the weaponry. They did not expect Furia to just bomb their way down the ramp, and, well, there's the potential for even a clean round here. I would, if I'm on Furia's side, I'd hand that SMG over to someone else and go hunting. I guess there might be a weapon to pick up, though, because they did kill Android.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he had, though. Was it
M4?
Oh, yeah, Vinny's got it now.
I didn't want to be the one to tell you.
He didn't want to say it.
But I like this, though. The fact that Furia hasn't been that kind of aggressive so far on the T side. I mean, again, there hasn't been too many rounds on the T side, but the fact that they switch things up and then they not only rush ramp and catch Android off guard, but then they also push the Molotov on top of that. And that's kind of what we was talking about with Envy, where they had their game plan of making a push happen, but once they ran into like Henny defending from ramp, when they hit lower on the T side, they like kind of stalled. They didn't have that next step, that next part of their plan flushed out and ready to go, and they kind of, well, you could tell there was obviously some communication going on what they should do in that situation instead of knowing what to do. And it seemed like Furia already had it prepared. And this is something I actually like to talk about. Generally, it was more in terms of like MOBAs, but it works a lot in FPS as well, is the fact that, you all right there? You good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Is a team that commits to a decision, even if it's a bad decision, if all 5 players commit to what call is being made, you're always going to fare better than a good call made, but the team being indecisive about it. And the fact that they saw the Molotov and they're like, all right, we're just going to commit to it. We're going to continue to go. Everyone continue to push. No one stopped to sit behind the Molotov so they could overwhelm Android on the ramp. I like to see things like that. And I like to see Furia's just kind of playing together as a team, playing very selfless, it seems.
Oh, that's a lot of the time my teams actually make changes. Like, you look at MBK being removed from Vitality, that was because they feared that there was a conflict of interest between the people trying to lead the team. So they wanted to give Alex the opportunity to pretty much be that primary and not have anybody sort of questioning him. So it seemed to work quite well in their first tournament. We'll see if that was just the honeymoon period or if that is going to continue. Smoke's faded.
Oh no, Fugly.
Oh, Nifty's actually the one to be called out. They're going to double back into Fugly, but they find the kills nonetheless. Android is going to be able to get one at least with the XM. Trying to get a little bit more aggressive, maybe find out some information for some of the remaining players. Yuri has managed to get himself right up into heaven, but there's still 2 players within this site. Molotov going to force one into the open. Ryan still wins the battle, though. And this stabilizes the round a little bit. It's just dependent on where they want to go now. Do they continue this pressure on the A side? It's understandable considering their current situation, and you see the CT side trying to get a little bit aggressive. Android doesn't know that Art's up there, and Art actually kills himself at the end. The biggest distraction of all, but it doesn't matter because Quesarado's got the final kill.
I did kind of question, by the way, and I don't know if you have a different thought about Yuri going in by himself in towards heaven. I mean, the fact they went up there's fine, but then he pushed out with the Molotov and the flashbang, but there was no one there to support. He kind of just went in and Ryan picked up the 1v1. Obviously, if he gets the kill, it's like, right, you open up the entire site. And they didn't lose the round anyway, so it's really kind of hard to judge it too heavily, but they weren't like ready to capitalize off the fact that he got there so quickly. And speaking of quick, look how fast Furia pushed out of the squeaky door. A lot of damage being done to them, to be fair. Art on 7 HP. Will eventually fall to the grenade, and it's actually a 2-on-3. Ryan trying to flank him from behind. Vinny's going to be there. He gets the kill. He drops the bomb, and now it's possible for Envy to win this round. Nifty trying to back away, and Quesarado winning a trade that he most certainly needed for Furia to have a chance in this round. But they do not have a lot of health. 1 bullet to each player could finish off the chances of Furia to take this and put a 9th on the board for Envy. But Nifty has no information where they're going to be. Actually, is Quesarado going to go up into heaven?
Oh dear.
Is Nifty going to expect it?
That's the thing, at the moment, neither team has any information. Ooh, now he does! Quesarado's like, no! Not going that way.
He like wanted to jump off the ladder as well, but didn't want to die to it. There was that moment.
Just slowly walk away. Well, nonetheless, they do manage to win the round. A pretty close one in the end for Envy, but the problem is now is those rounds early in the game where you're like, oh yeah, they've done a lot of damage, they've made things costly, like they've hurt the economy a bit, is great. Right now, when there's so much money for Furia and they're winning 14-8, it doesn't really make that much of a difference anymore. Like, it's a bit of a confidence booster, that's about it.
Well, I mean, Henny has 11K, and what does he buy? A Mac 10.
Why not? They're going to run down ramp again. So he's just going to look to try and shut down Android. That's his goal here. Doesn't overface.
Where's the utility usage, Tom? Like the early utility usage against them? Like, why are we not seeing like smokes thrown, incendiaries? This isn't the first round in a row that they've rushed things through. And Art, I mean, that was a piece of beauty.
It's just ridiculous. The fact he gets away with so much, in even Nifty just waiting there on the angle. They've just picked this CT side apart. They should have known roughly where Android was, but it's easy to forget in those scenarios. And while a 15th round won in the end, yeah, I kind of get what you mean with early utility, but I guess if you play your sort of default style, you would throw all of your utility out straight away if you were playing against Furia. Like that's sort of the gambles that Envy have to take, where they go, okay, surely they're not going to run ramp again.
But they're not able to stop the rush. And why would Furia change things up if they're getting in so freely, if they're not losing these rounds?
Yeah, but you have to put it this way. Last round, they ran straight into A. This round, they ran straight down ramp. They've had other rounds where they ran straight outside. So if you predict... I get what you mean, like in a sense that they want to be using utility to slow them down. But if they tried to do that on every place the Furia rushed, they throw all of their utility at the beginning of the round.
Maybe not every place, but the fact that we saw them rush outside and Fugly didn't even expect them to be there. He was just running in back towards Mini. And then we see ramp that Android wasn't even checking for them to rushing straight through trophy room. And then obviously upper, you can't really do much about that because either they're gonna explode, explode through the door or not. I don't know. I would like to see maybe a little bit more information gathering. Maybe I'm just being too harsh. Again, the aggression's not stopping as Henny's gonna be pushing on the outside. He slip a player in towards Secret. Fugly pushed up, trying to meet the aggression with his own. Being shot in from the backside over towards Twinkie. And eventually he will drop to the grenade out of Art.
Another great performance from the in-game leader. Literally leading by example. 27 kills. He's definitely he must be the highest rated player of the whole tournament so far. Like, he has been absolutely killing it. Well, Pizarrado is going to be met with a shotgun and an SMG. He's not going to be able to get either of the kills, but has cost them a bit of damage. It's still a worthwhile trade for Envy, as they at least now manage to retrieve another rifle. Yuri comes close, but more interested in Art. Sneaking his way around. It's spotted by Nifty, though. A great round from them again, just off the back of what is a pretty horrific force buy. I love to see shotguns, but when it's 15-8, it's not what you're hoping for. Even still, how costly can Yuri make this? Even giving the SG over might not be the ideal scenario for him. Does manage to at least pick off one. Nifty's a little bit low around the corner. In fact, every single member's below half HP, so there is an opportunity for him. Android may be in heaven, but he's using an XM, so if he gets this kill, a little bit unlucky. Nifty just about gets away with it.
I would imagine they're still not going to have a very clean buy. And Furia at map point and have a lot of rounds to work with, even if they lose the next few. And if you're Furia here, I mean, you're so in the driver's seat. The fact that you can either rush ramp again, rush upper, rush outer, or you could just completely change things up and slow the pace and force Envy to invest utility early on and then just play for picks, which Furia's already been able to get anyways. Look how much is being committed towards the outside as well. So many smokes, so many flashes being thrown, trying to really keep the eyes of Envy towards that part of the map. But it looks like Furia has changed up the style, slowing it down. Android checking, again, early smokes as well. Now the question is, what, with one smoke and two incendiaries left, Fury can just basically explode in towards upper if they wanted to, or even towards ramp. If Android cannot put himself in a position to get away, just trying to spot to see anyone in towards trophy room. You can see, like, Nifty's just playing a very floaty role between heaven and between ramp.
Well, seems like CTs now know. The question is, can they do anything about it? Ryan's gone down from the heavens. So I'm still within the sight. Rotation has come in. Nifty now up above. Yuri looking to try and double the heaven kill. Som peeks around, but he can't win his battle either. They're falling like flies, and it leaves Android and Fugly trying to save their map choice. They did better on their opponent's map choice yesterday as they got bodied on Inferno. They're going to have to do that, as it seems like Nuke might be slipping away from them. The flashbangs coming in for Android as he looks to try and find an entry back in, but neither him or his teammate can really find anything. Android finally gets one, but both teammates dropped by Yuri. 23 kills for him as well. A great performance overall from Furia, and they do the job on the T side.